We all rose for the last hymn of the service. The snuffles of the mourners somewhat muffled by the antiquated music. He had always taught one not to show emotion, to practice the art of keeping up appearances. Even in death I abide by Father's teachings. The service paints a portrait of a well-respected man. Words of admiration pass along the crowded aisles. The celebrant applauds Father's 4 years he spent fighting for Queen and country. A few rusty medals enshrined next to his photograph. It's what he would have wanted. The service migrates to my childhood family home for the resemblance of a wake. It's strange saying goodbye to the dearly departed over Mother's tepid buffet. It was an afternoon of faded memories. The mourners congregated around Father's armchair, running their fingers up and down their arms as if some part of him was still left in the fabric. They commended Father's achievements. His work with the parish, his years spent in service, all discussed while devouring Mother's crustless sandwiches. I sat for a while in the kitchen with Mother, a moment spent together, until one of Father's friends came and took her hand and said, "Oh, he loved you, you know." "Yes," she said. And then he took mine and said, "Do you remember what he called you when you were small?" "Daddy's little girl," I said. Mother left the table. There were 2 speeches planned. My brother was one, some military man was the other. My brother's opening gambit was his childhood memories of Father. It was a tapestry of well-rehearsed tales, culminating in a timely tear. The military man read some piece of paper. "A true soldier doesn't fight because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what's behind him." We all raise a glass to that. Brother handed round a faded photograph. 1986, Brighton Beach, written in blue pen on the back. My brothers were play fighting in the corner, Mother in the middle, the only one paying attention to the camera. Father lay on the sand with a cigarette in one hand and my small hand in the other. The bulk of the mourners were huddled in the living room, crammed in like a game of sardines. The decoration looked somewhat dated by today's modern fashion. The electric fire projecting luminous orange onto the dark oak furniture. Decades of Father's cigar smoke had permeated the wallpaper. Seams peeling away from the edges. and his cigar box was left untouched next to his armchair. I hated the stench. He stank of it. Even today I gag at the stench of smoke. The conversation turned to the early 90s and our fading juvenescence. According to the order of service, Father joined the church in 91. He became a member of the choir. In 92, he worked as groundsman. He was elected to the PCC, the Parochial Church Council, in 93. And in 94, he was youth group leader, a title he died with. Some people vacated the room. By early evening, there was just myself, mother and brother remained. He poured us a glass of Father's special reserve. "To Father," he said. "To Father." They'd been talking to me for a while, but I hadn't noticed. They asked if Father was restful, for I was his final visitation. I consoled my family with a tale of a man at peace. "Oh, thank the Lord," they said. "What a blessing it is to breathe one's last in sleep." He was on Ward 6 in the East Wing. Bed number 243. I looked for the man who'd walked me down the aisle, but I found just a shadow of his former self. I touched his hand, but he lay motionless, buried in a concoction of medical paraphernalia. I drew the curtain around the circumference of his bed, creating 4 walls between us and the infirmary. The definition of vulnerability is the inability to avoid risk or be capable of response. And there he lay, vulnerable. Oh, I should know. I sat there for a while, watching the rhythm of his heart on the monitor. I couldn't say when he woke, but I felt him first. For he had lain his hand on my leg and was digging his fingers into my thigh. Oh, he couldn't speak, but his grin said it all, showing the few remaining blackened teeth he had. I pulled the pillow from underneath his head. Oh, he resisted, but he was soon still. I could tell when it was all over, because his legs stopped shaking. I stared for a moment at his photograph in the order of service. They'd used the one I'd chosen, him in front of his church. I lit his last Monte Cristo and placed it between my teeth. I liked it. Maybe I am a daddy's girl.